So, Jimbo, there you are in your fucking Eagles shirt because your Eagles won yesterday. Barely by the skin of your ass. It was a bare win, just a couple mistakes by the Washington football team of Redskin Commanders. The Eagles had to play a perfect game, and they did. No mistakes were made at all by the Eagles in that game. A fraudulent 8-2 team. How you feel? How you feeling today, Jimbo?
I'm good, but man, I'm freaking tired.
Hey, listen, stay up late for the games. It's not easy. It is not easy. It is not fun. But I'll tell you something. I'm very excited about this week. I'm very excited about Week 11. You know why?
Why is that?
Because it's the first time in a long time. Giants are going to lose this week. Giants ain't losing this week, motherfucker. It ain't happening. And welcome to the Friday Forecast, everybody. This is Stay Tuned Sports. My name is King. That is your good friend Jimbo right over there. And this is our weekly NFL picks and prediction show where we're going to go ahead and go through all the games coming up here in Week 11. Of course, we already had Thursday night, and our prediction was made on the main podcast there, Stay Tuned Sports, on Wednesday, where I went ahead and I picked the Washington football team of Redskin Commanders. Jimbo, of course, Mr. Homer himself, always picks the Eagles. Actually, no, showed a little faith. He showed a little faith in his team, and it was rewarded as the Eagles went ahead and won on Thursday night, taking firm control of the NFC East away from the Washington football team of Redskin Commanders in what was kind of a back and forth, kind of a slowish, a lot of punting, a lot of 3-and-outs the whole game, and then right in the fourth quarter there, it turned into the Saquon show, and it was curtains from there, lights out, turn the lights out, turn out the lights, the party's over. They say that all good things must end, and it did, because now we got to see the Eagles on top again. I still can't believe. I don't believe in them. I don't believe in the Eagles. It's a fraudulent 8-2 record, just like it was last year for them. They are not a good football team, Jimbo. They're not. They're not a good football team. They're a Dallas Cowboys. They're a wild card exit team. That's what the Eagles are. Bottom line, I'm sorry, the Eagles are a wild card exit. They are.
As long as that defense plays how they played the past since the bye week, we'll be okay. They could win the Super Bowl and you'll still call them fraudulent.
I don't have to worry about that. You're not winning the fucking Super Bowl. You're not winning the Super Bowl. Listen, I will make that. Listen, freezing cold takes at Old Takes Exposed out there. Notify him of this one. ELS, you can clip this on YouTube. ELS in the chat, by the way. How you doing? You can clip this if you want. Send it to Old Takes Exposed and tell them this. I am saying this definitively here. What is this? November 15th. November 15th, ladies and gentlemen, at 4:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I, King, from Stay Tuned Sports, am saying the Eagles in no way are even sniffing the Super Bowl, let alone winning it. Definitive, 100% not fucking happening. Ever. The Eagles are not going to the Super Bowl. In fact, I'm not going to go as far to say that they're an automatic wild card exit, but that is my thought and prediction. But they are not. They are definitely not getting to the NFC Championship game. That is a fucking guarantee, and they are not going to the Super Bowl. That is a double fucking guarantee. Never going to happen. Not. Nope. Net. Nope. No.
Okay, Skip Bayless.
Fuck. Let's not say things we can't take back. Let's not say things we can't take back, Jimbo. The Eagles should be a lot worse than 7-3. They should be a lot worse than 7-3, and they're not by luck, by the skin of the balls that they have. Nick Sirianni, again, they should have lost to Jacksonville. They should have lost to the Packers there in Brazil. They should have lost to a number of other games and a number of other teams. Like the only real convincing game the Eagles had was against the Giants, and that's because the Giants are ass. So I mean, that's
No,
Oh,
let's
and
not
the
forget,
Cowboys. Okay, and the Cowboys. The same thing. Cowboys are ass. So
you have the Chiefs as your number one power ranked team, and they should have lost to this team, and they should have lost to that team, and they should have lost to the Broncos, and they should have
yes,
lost.
but they win because they're good and they're prepared and they make the like again. That blocked field goal was because
Chiefs are good.
they knew that particular lineman was lining up on his heels constantly. You saw the tape. He's always getting knocked on his ass every play, and the Chiefs said, "We can exploit that. We can exploit that," and they exploited it. That's smart. The Eagles are winning games by luck. They're not winning it by skill. They're not winning it because Nick Sirianni is some kind of great coach and is finding the little things to do to win. They're winning in spite of their coach. And again, just by pure, utter luck are they winning.
Patrick Mahomes has more INTs than Jalen Hurts.
And it is still a better quarterback. It's still a better quarterback. It's still 1,000% better quarterback than Jalen
Tied in
Hurts.
touchdowns this year. Tied in
It
touchdowns
doesn't.
this year.
What's
Everybody
that?
was saying they're tied in touchdowns this year.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
point.
Patrick Mahomes is to try to sit there and
Travis Kelce was
compare
supposed to be over the
Jalen
hill.
Hurts to Mahomes.
And-
Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you
You're
out of
saying-
your mind?
You're saying the Chiefs are good this year. Well, they have the same stats as we do. If not, we have better than them. And so,
The Chiefs are
let your Giants-
sorry. The Chiefs
let your
defense.
Giants hate,
The
keep
Chiefs
going.
defense is better. Patrick Mahomes is better. Kelsey's a better tight end. Like the only thing you have better than the Chiefs is your running back, and you struggle to use him correctly. At times, like, I don't understand it. But again, Eagles are so. And no, it was a beautiful
we'll see the
azure
Eagles
sky
versus
out
Chiefs
there
Super
today,
Bowl.
Hamster. By the way, so good. Thanks for joining us here in the chat. All right, let's stop the belly aching. Let's stop the bullshit, and let's stop all that. And let's get over to let's go over to the big board here, and let's bring up the picks. Bang, bang! Of course, there we see. I picked the Washington Football Team of Redskin Commanders. They lost 26-18 yesterday to the Eagles. Jimbo, of course, as we see, picked the Eagles. So that is out of the way. Thursday night is done. So now let's take a look at the first games on Sunday. We got the Packers at the Bears. This one seems pretty easy. Woo, boy, do the Bears suck. The Bears are bad. That's just the simple matter of fact of it here. Bears are bad. They are falling down. They fired their offensive coordinator. Does that help them at all? Does that help Caleb Williams? I don't think so. And again, the Packers are coming off that very bad game against the Lions. They had a bye week to think about it. They're going to be super, ultra, mega prepared going into this game. I think it's going to get bad, maybe ugly for the Bears. I got the Packers. Jimbo, thoughts on where the Bears are, where they're going, and how this game looks to you?
Well, the rumors coming out of the Bears before they fired the OC was the decision was either fire the OC or bench Caleb Williams. They went with firing the OC. I think they should have did both. That just shows you how bad that team is. And Packers are a good team, and they should cruise to a win.
You have to. Here's the thing, and this goes to my. Stop starting rookie quarterbacks. Just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop doing it. You just have to stop doing it. And they won't. They never will. I don't know why, but they won't. So that is where we stand currently on that. But yeah, I think this gets ugly. I think this gets real ugly. So I got the Packers over the Bears. Big Jimbo pretty much has the same thing. Next game up on the list. The Jaguars, which I believe they're still starting Mac Jones again. Trevor's going to be out for another game. Taking on Detroit, who does not have Sam Laporta. He will be out for this game, as we just found out. We both have the Lions in this game. This one seems to be just makes sense. The Jaguars are what they are. They were getting better with Trevor Lawrence. Again, should have beaten the Eagles. They've been improving with that. Unfortunately, Trevor Lawrence got hurt. If Trevor Lawrence played last week, they'd probably beat the Vikings in that game. So the rest of the team is playing well. Not having Trevor Hurts, which I didn't think I would say this year, but actually him improving gave them a better chance to win as the weeks have gone on. Even if he was with the Jaguars, I don't know how much chance they would have had against Detroit. But yeah, I think this is Detroit, and it might be closer. Detroit has some of those games. Detroit can get that way. They get a little wonky, but I think overall they win. Whether it's a blowout, whether it's close, I think they win.
Yeah, no, I agree.
By the way, so far, ELS in the chat, he has the Packers and the Lions to go along with our picks. So everybody is just straight across the board. But we're going to have some differences here now as we move to the Raiders and the Miami Dolphins. I have the Miami Dolphins in this game. Jimbo, you have the Las Vegas Raiders. Thoughts? Why do you have the Raiders coming? Again, they just fired their offensive coordinator. Seems to be a little bit of turmoil there. They're starting Minshew again as they've gone in flip, flop, snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. You know what kind of toll that takes on a man. So the Raiders kind of not gelling, as it were. They're not gelling like Magellan, as Dr. Scholes would have them being, but you have them beating Tua and the Dolphins. Why is that?
It's a mixture of two things. You know, I said multiple times when Tua came back, I thought that team would get back to how they were before Tua got hurt, and even like what they were doing last year. Really hasn't come together like that, and I just think the Raiders are due for a win, and this would be. I think this is a team. The Dolphins is a team that they could pull off a surprise win, like a gut feeling win, and that's why I took the Raiders.
I think they got Tua back. They've been playing well the last couple of weeks. They lost 2 games on the last second field goal. Then they win last week. It feels like they've got a little bit of momentum back on their side now that they have Tua there. They're at home. They're playing a team that is down in the dumps, even though they're coming off a bye. Again, they just fired their offensive coordinator, which means that there's offensive turmoil. What is the playbook going to look like? Is there any significant change? You fired the offensive coordinator, but do you change anything in the system? If you do, you only have a week to learn a brand new offensive system. And if not, then you're just dealing with the same offensive system you've already had, which hasn't been working. So either way, I think the Raiders are at a big disadvantage. They don't have any offensive weapons. They traded away Devontae Adams. They don't have. I mean, they are in a very bad spot. And again, the Dolphins are improved now that Tua is back. And as long as he doesn't try to fucking tackle anybody with his head like a fucking idiot, I think the Dolphins have this one, and I think it'd have it fairly easily. In the next game, we're both picking an upset here. I'm riding with the Patriots for a while. I'm sorry, I'm riding with them. Drake May looks good.
Yep.
Which, again, I'm not going to be pissed at Tommy DeVito. I'm not. I love the guy. Gabagool, a Jersey boy. I'm never going to be mad at him. But if we just don't win a couple of those games, maybe
Joe
we
Shane, he still messes that draft pick up.
Maybe that's true. Shane might have fucked it up. You never know.
Yeah.
Who knows? But like I said, even if he doesn't get that, he gets Joe Alt, which would be a good offensive lineman. Maybe that would do something.
Yeah.
Who knows? But he might fuck it up. Who knows? But I'll tell you what. May looks good even behind a bad offensive line. The Patriots defense is what it is. But the Rams, unfortunately, I thought once you got Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua back, you'd be better. In the last game they played, did not look great, did not play well, and the Patriots got, I think, a little bit of momentum here. They're playing in New England. I'm gonna go with the upset here because the Rams are, again, on paper the Rams are a better team and they should win. But something is screaming to me these last couple of weeks about the Patriots. I'm gonna ride with Drake May, baby. May Day. Here we go. It's gonna be May. I'm going with the Patriots. Why did you decide to go with the upset pick here and go with the Pats and Mayo and all them?
I kind of agree with Coach Gruden that Drake May is going to be a 5-star quarterback, and it just seems like with the Rams, once they got those pieces back, the shininess has gone away and they're back to how they were earlier in the season. This could still be a good game for 2 shitty teams, like a close game. But I just think Drake May is going to be the difference maker in this game.
I like it. I'm sorry. I like the Patriots. I like the way he's playing. I'm gonna run with them. ELS says that he can't see the Pats winning that game, and listen, a lot of people can. That's why it's an upset pick. That's why it's called that. Because nobody's expecting the Patriots to kind of win that game. I am though. I'm picking them. I'll pick it up. I think they can do it. Next game coming up here, kind of a dookie bowl in more than one sense. As the Saints interim head coach said before Sunday, clogged up the coach's room toilet. And you get the listen. I understand that. I've clogged the toilet in my day, once or twice.
Yeah.
You know, you get the nerve poops. When you get the nerve poops, it just everything flushes out of here. You know what I'm saying? And then it's hard to get that. Especially if it sits there for a while, you're like, oh man, I gotta get it all out. And if it sits there for a minute or two, and then you got to get up, and then it's like it has time to settle and almost solidify like concrete. It's like poopcrete there in the bottom of the toilet, and then it doesn't move, and you're like, oh shit, literally, because then it's all it's just a mess. I get it, so I understand, but and of course the Browns literally is the color of shit. So as I was looking at this game, I had originally picked the Browns. I was gonna pick the Browns. I was like, they're coming off a bye. Maybe they get a little better again. They had beaten the Ravens. They looked like ass against the Chargers. But maybe, given a week and something like that. But at the last second, I decided to switch to the Saints. Usually the second game after a new coach, you get that new coach bump. And then the second game, it's right back down.
Yeah.
Again, this is their second straight game at home, though. They're in the Dome. Again, that Dome is a tough place to play, even when the Saints suck. And the Browns are a team that is ready to get got. They just traded away one of their defensive players there to the Lions. They seem to have punted on the season clearly. They are in organizational disarray. Now, Stefanski is a very good coach. So that's the reason I was really going to pick the Browns. I was like, I think Stefanski can get this team ready to play and beat a team like the Saints. But the Saints there's good vibes in there. They, Gatorade dunked the coach. He seems to be cool. He's a Jersey boy. Good Jersey guy. He's got those strong Jersey shits that clog up toilets. So, that's just that's another reason I like the guy. And I'm gonna go. I decided to switch my pick, going with the Saints to beat the Browns there at the Superdome. Jimbo, you've got the Cleveland Browns. What's up with that? Why you got the Browns in this game, Jimbo?
You kind of touched on it. This is the second game with the interim coach. We always see the nosedive back to normalcy for that team. And also, maybe this game, Myles Garrett takes over. He's due for a game like that. I know they're 2-7, but I have faith in Jameis Winston. I think he's gonna be he's gonna have a good game this week. So that's why I took the Browns.
ELS says this is the upset that he took. He thinks that the Browns are going to... Is that really an upset, though? Like, I don't even know what the points for it is. Like, technically, I'm sure it's an upset, but both of these teams suck. A win by either one of them is not really going to be an upset of the other one. Yeah. I don't think.
And their records are close to each other. Saints have one more win than...
It's not about record. It's about how they're fucking playing. And they both are shit. They're both they've been very bad teams and very bad teams to watch. So... Yeah. To me, that's how I count that out. Now, the first game we're going to be covering here on Stay Tuned Sports on Sunday, a big one, a good one. Oh God, it's going to be so many good games this Sunday. Make sure you tune in with us. We got the Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers. The fight for the AFC North. I like doing it. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Why am I not a voiceover guy? I have no idea. Anyway, Ravens over the Steelers are facing the Steelers, not over them, because I didn't pick the Ravens. Indeed, I picked the Steelers. Again, Russell Wilson playing very well, being able to stretch the field, and they're able to maintain ball control. They got Najee. He does well. And that Ravens defense, and how many times have you been able to say this in the last 25 years? Not great. Ravens defense, not great. And you don't get to say that a lot. So you have Patrick Queen now facing his old team. Maybe a little bit of a revenge factor. That Steelers defense, very good. If the Steelers can go ahead and maintain ball control, they can get some big plays from Russ Wilson, Pickens, and Mike Williams, and stretch the field. Tell me how they lose. I don't think they can. And again, the Ravens are a very inconsistent team. But here's a case where I think even if they play very well, I think the Steelers still come out on top. They're at home. Their defense is fantastic. Their offense is now better than just mediocre or just middle of the road. They actually have a offense that can score and can move the ball and can move the chains and eat some clock there. And like I said, keeping the best way to always beat Baltimore is to keep Lamar and to keep Derrick Henry off the field. The Steelers can do that. I've got the Steelers. Jimbo, you also have the Steelers. What's your thought process going into this game?
Yeah, it's going to boil down to can the defense, Pittsburgh's defense, stop Derrick Henry and make Lamar beat them. I'm actually going to go with that route. I don't think Lamar could beat them. And also, I'm on your
That's a hot take.
train. I'm on your train of them being inconsistent. They lost to the Browns. They blew out the Broncos, gave me a little bit of faith back, but then barely beat the Bengals. So it's like, what team is going to show up? And I just think the Steelers are a more consistent team and will pull the win out.
They should have lost to the Bengals twice.
Yeah.
When we look at that, I mean, and you look at Joe Burrow's stats in those games, and it's like, here's the thing: if the Bengals aren't 4-6, Joe Burrow's in the MVP conversation.
Yeah.
Because his numbers are fucking incredible. It's just that the where we see teams are able to win games, the Bengals unfortunately find ways to lose them, and that's the unfortunate thing. But yeah, I'm going with the Steelers over the Ravens, and saying you don't think Lamar can beat the Steelers. Lamar can run the ball too. You know what I mean? It's not just throwing the ball. He can move and that's the danger for the Steelers is again that the option where you have to watch that is if it goes to Derrick or if Lamar keeps it, that's going to be really tough for that Steelers front seven. But if they can contain that, if they can contain both Lamar's running and Derrick Henry, and again, the best way to contain them is to keep them off the field. So run Najee, keep the ball, control the ball, eat the clock, win the game. I think it's that simple when it comes down to the Steelers, and they are built to do it. ELS in the chat says, hot take, I have the Steelers in the Super Bowl. I'm going to say that's not a overreaction. That's not a hot take, really. I think that's right now, here we are sitting in Week 11, that's a legitimate thing, especially if they win. If they beat the Ravens and get like basically a 2-game lead over the Ravens in the AFC North, yeah, I think that's not just a hot take. I think they become one of the top teams in the AFC up there with the Chiefs that you'd have to look out. And they would definitely jump up in the power rankings at that point. I think they're up there. I think they're 4 or 5 on mine. I forget. But anyway, the next game, we have the Minnesota Vikings versus the Tennessee Titans. I have Minnesota. They are not playing well. Minnesota has not played well at all. The Titans suck. They're just terrible. Will Levis, he didn't have a Will Levis game last week, so that's something. That's something to look forward to if you're Tennessee. But Tennessee is still god-awful. Minnesota, they were able to get a win in Jacksonville, and I think Jacksonville's a better team than Tennessee, even with Mac Jones at quarterback. Really, Will Levis not doing something goofy doesn't mean that he's still any better than what he is.
Yeah.
So, again, if the Vikings lose this game, fucking panic in Minnesota. That's all I'm going to say. It's time to hit that panic button. If it's not already going off, time to really start getting the sirens, baby. We will, we will, we will, we will. To quote our good friend Patrick Starr. But for now, I will pick the Vikings. But you're on thin ice, Minnesota. You're on thin ice with me.
I'm the same, but I'm already on panic mode with them. I mean, you were this high-powered offense, in the beginning of the season, and going up against what was it, Jacksonville? They lost to.
Who, Minnesota?
Last week? Yeah.
No, they beat Jacksonville.
Or they beat Jacksonville 12.
But barely, yeah, 12 to 7.
Like,
yeah.
That's not a 7-2 team.
No, and you had Sam Darnold threw 3 picks in the end zone, trying to force it in there to Justin Jefferson. It's not. It was not a great game, and they haven't had a good game in like 5 games.
Yeah.
And I've brought this up. They should have lost to the Packers in Lambeau after they were up 28-0, almost lost. They were outscored 29-3 the rest of the game, lost by 2 points. They should have lost to the Jets in London. It's just if the Jets' offense wasn't fucking horrendous, the Jets win that game because they failed to get anything else done in that second half. And again, they have big problems in the second half. Then you have the 2 games they lost, and then you have the game against the Colts, which was like that again, one of the worst games I've ever watched. And then they followed up with a game that was even worse than the one they played against the Colts.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you even get worse? But Tennessee's awful. So that's staying my hand. But if I'm Minnesota, you cannot put out another game like you have in the last 5 games. You cannot do it. You have to play better. You have to. And again, if they lose to Tennessee, It wouldn't be surprising. It wouldn't be the biggest shock of the week for me. But boy, would there be some fucking alarm bells going off in Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
And ELS in the chat says, Jimbo, I like your upset pick with the Titans. I hope that happens so I can call my cousin who's a Vikings fan and laugh at him. Vikings are frauds to me after the Rams loss. Again, ELS being a big Packers fan, so he hates he hates the Vikings. I think it's we're kind of picking up on that, ELS. I don't know, a little subtlety you have there when it comes to Minnesota. But speaking of the Colts and that awful game that they played against the Vikings, they're playing the Jets. Oh boy, this one's going to be fun to watch. Certainly can't wait to. No, okay. I went with the Colts simply because the Jets are done. I'm sorry, they're done. The Colts are not much better. Again, they're starting Anthony Richardson. Maybe he does something really cool and fun on one play. He'll probably throw like 6 picks and walk off the field for some reason in the middle of a play. I have no idea. But I can't pick the Jets. I can't pick the Jets right now. Their defense, which is supposed to be their strong suit, is bad. You can say that's because, they fired Robert Saleh. Well, Robert Saleh was the head coach, not the defensive coordinator. That's a problem. Robert Saleh has shown, great defensive coordinator. He is. Fantastic defensive coordinator. As Jimbo's dog is very upset by that. But as a head coach, he was bad. The problem is now, the rest of that defense has not, they haven't been able to do anything with that defense since he got fired. So, what do you do? But again, this team needs a complete coaching staff reboot, but you can't do that in the middle of a season, I guess. So they are what they are. The Colts are not great either, but I can't pick the Jets. So that's why I went with the Colts.
I just basically went with the Jets because it's Anthony Richardson, and I mean, the Jets have all these weapons. Devontae Adams, Lazard, a good running back. At some point this season, they have to put together a 4-quarter game.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
And I think this, going up against the Colts, would be the time to do it. And plus, it would make a good Aaron Rodgers show with Pat McAfee if they pull out a win.
Yeah, against here's the other thing too. Like, even if they win, it's a bad Colts team, and Anthony Richardson, who they had given up on already, and was basically just trying to see, well, can he be a backup, or what are we getting next year, or do we move on from him already? Like, that's what the rest of the season now is for the Colts. So, but the Jets are, what is that team going to look like next year? Aaron Rodgers says he wants to play. As you can see down in the ticker, we have that news. He said he wants to play in 2025, but clearly it's going to be a different coaching staff. So, and there's going to be player turnover because just on contracts and salary cap, the Jets can't keep everybody again. So Devontae is going to be there because he's still on a 2-year contract. So, you know, if Aaron Rodgers is a man of his word, he's going to be there next year. Devontae Adams is going to be there next year. Well, who else is going to be there? Especially on the defensive side of the ball. Who are you going to get to coach that team? And where do you move on from there? Because Nathaniel Hackett, he can't be there again. No. Nobody else on that coaching staff is going to be there. So who's going to be there? Who takes over? And where do you go from there? And do the Jets have one more run in them? Because this year is absolutely a bust. Next game we have here is the Atlanta Falcons making a trip out to the Mile High City to avoid some hobo shit and play the Denver Broncos. We both have the Broncos on this one. I have the Broncos on this one for really one reason, and one reason only. The Falcons are too inconsistent. They're just they are far too inconsistent of a team, and I can't place my faith in them. They're on the road again. Just can't. Well, they certainly can't wait to get off the fucking road again because they had the trip to New Orleans that did not go well. Now they're traveling out to Denver, up in that thin air. Rocky Mountain High, baby. I'm just going to start just naming songs and singing them as we go along here. Bo Nix is playing better. Probably had his best game last game against the Chiefs. The Broncos' defense is good. If they could just shore up their fucking field goal protection, they would have won that game, and they'd be in a real good spot right now. They're still fairly in a good spot. They're still in the wild card chase. And they're at home, and I think right now they're playing better. And actually, believe it or not, I think they're playing a little bit more consistently. That means that they're not playing great, but they're also not playing terrible. They're playing good football. Whereas the Falcons can play 1 week fantastic football and then the next week lose to the Saints. So, again, I can't pick the Falcons right now. Going with the Broncos.
Yeah, no, I agree. Mostly my pick is like what you said. The Falcons are just too inconsistent to pick them right now.
And ELS in the chat says he also has the Broncos in this game. Bo Nix looked very good, and he did. Bo Nix played good. A lot of people are starting to believe in Bo Nix there. Get that boner going. Again, the Broncos are 5-5 right now. ELS believes the Broncos should be 7-3 considering how they've played in some of the games they've had. I'm not going to disagree with that. Next game up, we have the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers. Again, I think this one's going to be fairly easy. The Seahawks have been kind of shown to be frauds. They're not very good. Outside of that fluke game that they had in Atlanta, again, inconsistent Atlanta. The Seahawks, all you need to know is that the Seahawks lost to the Giants at home. They lost to the Giants. Daniel Jones was throwing bombs on them for touchdowns. Come on. San Francisco, again, they're getting healthier. Ricky Pearsall looks really good. Some people are going to now look to get shot in the chest to maybe help their game, I guess. I don't know. And again, San Francisco's trying to regain dominance over the NFC West, which now they have to face, they got to fight with the Cardinals now for that, because the Cardinals all of a sudden coming out here in the middle part of the season looking great. I do believe they have a bye this week, though. So I have San Francisco. You have San Francisco as well. Anything to add on that one, Jimbo?
No, pretty much the same.
Hamster in the chat says, you're all just a bunch of haters on the Falcons. We're going to show you. Listen, Hamster, I know you're a Falcons fan. I know you are. But your boys are inconsistent. You can't deny that. Like, you can't sit there and say, oh, we're going to show everybody we're a good team. You lost to the Saints, who fired their coach and had, a 7-game losing streak, 8-game losing streak? You can't do it. You can't do it. So, I know you're a Falcons fan, and you guys are doing great. You're still in the lead there in the NFC South, and you got the, you have the tiebreaker over the Buccaneers and all this other stuff, but lock it up, baby. Like, short, you got to focus. You got to start focusing here. Don't get mad at us. We're just the messengers. That's all I'm saying. Next game up is going to be the second of the big games we are covering here on Stay Tuned Sports on Sunday. The Kansas City Chiefs making a trip to Buffalo. Nope, adjacent to Buffalo. They're going to Orchard Park, New York, to take on the Bills. And we have two different picks here. Bit of controversy in this game, by the way. The NFL having to come out and say, no. We did not schedule this game because Taylor Swift has her concert in Toronto, and it'd be easier for her to just jump over to Orchard Park and watch her boy toy play, and then she could just jump right back to Toronto to finish the shows. He's doing 6 of them up there at the Sky Dome in Toronto. The fact that the NFL had to come out and fucking address that is fucking insane to begin with. But that just goes to show you the level of how some people fucking are. And also, if they didn't, who gives a shit? Listen, love is love. I'm a big fan of love. Congratulations. Let them fuck. All right? All right. You know what I mean? What you don't want you just don't want two lovers hanging out there in Niagara Falls just enjoying the beautiful waterfall as he just bangs her from behind on the balcony? Come on. Love is love, people. Let's go. Wake up. Anyway, I have the Kansas City Chiefs in this game. Why? Because they find fucking ways to win. Games they shouldn't win, games they should win, games that are close, games that aren't. However way they win, they fucking win. Again, they found a way last week against the Broncos. Tough game, back and forth. Broncos driving down the field, game-winning field goal coming up, and they're like, hey, this fucking guy's on his heels all the time. Focus on him, blast through him like your name is Travis and he's Taylor's vagina. Just blast right through him and block that field goal like contraception, baby. Boo-boo! And sure enough, what did they do? Got in there, knocked it down, won the game. The Chiefs find the little ways, the big ways, all the ways to win the games. I can't pick against them right now. 9-0. Buffalo, again, this is going to be a fucking great game, a fun game to watch, as it always is between these two rivals. But I got to go with the Chiefs on this one. Jimbo, I see you have something different.
Yes. Shoulda won, shoulda lost. that's pretty much the Chiefs' mo all season. They've been barely beating teams, just like the Eagles. But we're a shit hot garbage team. The Bills, on the other hand, I think the wins that they're putting together are impressive wins.
Okay, but who have they played? Exactly. Look at their wins and who they've played, and then look at the losses they have. They only have 2 losses, but it's when they played a somewhat good team and a very good team. And they got blown out by the very good team.
Yeah, but that was a fluke.
What, against the Ravens? No, it wasn't.
I just think this is going to be the game that the Chiefs finally don't find a way or have help by the refs to beat the Bills. And I think the Bills put it all together, and it's going to be a close game. I'm not saying the Bills are going to blow them out by any means, but I just think the Bills have a complete game where the Chiefs are going to have a couple mistakes, and Bills will capitalize.
By the way, here we go. This is the Bills. The Bills are 8-2. They beat the Cardinals in Week 1, 34-28. Which again, we saw then. It was like, ooh, that's why they're struggling against the Cardinals. Now we know the Cardinals pretty decent team, so that's fine. Then they played the Dolphins, where they, Tua tried to murder himself on DeMar Hamlin's chest, blew them out 31-10. Okay, but Dolphins weren't good. Then they beat the Jaguars 47-10 on that Monday Night Football game. Jaguars were in the midst of the lowest that they were at that time. Very bad team. So that was a win. Then they played the Ravens and got fucking shellacked by 25 points, 35-10. Then they played the Texans and they lose 23-20 because they can't manage the clock and they don't know how to run a game out. So that's, again, they found a way to lose a game instead of finding a way to win a game. Then they played the Jets and barely beat the fucking New York Jets 23-20. Then they beat the Titans 34-10. Titans, the juggernaut that is the Tennessee Titans. Then they played the Seahawks in Seattle, 131-10. As we just talked about, Seahawks, garbage birds. They're not good. Then they played the Dolphins again, 30-27, in which Tua came back, but again had to win on a last-second field goal to beat the Dolphins. And then they played a very bad, struggling Colts team with Flacco in the backfield at quarterback that couldn't play at all, and they only won by 10, 30-20. So which one of those games to you screams impressive when it comes to the Bills? That's what I mean.
Let's look at the Chiefs. I'm not even going to say if they won or lost. Obviously, they won all of them, but
that's it, right there. That's all you need to say right there. That's all you need to say.
Okay.
Is that they've won all the games.
They beat Detroit.
They have met every challenge and won every challenge. They beat the Ravens, who the Bills got crushed by. They beat them.
Barely beat the Bengals.
Okay, but the Bills haven't played the Bengals. But as we saw, the Bengals play everybody close.
Barely beat the Falcons.
But the Falcons are, again, as we see, inconsistent team. They played a good time. They played a good game against them.
Barely beat them.
Yes, barely beat them, but the Falcons have played good football.
If they were
inconsistent but good.
See, there's your hate. You're letting your Taylor Swift love.
No. Dude, this is legitimate. Dude, listen. Stop. First of all, stop. Second of all, like when you look at these games again, they beat Baltimore. Yeah, it took a toe landing out of bounds to do it. Yes, but they beat Baltimore, the same team that blew out the Bills.
Okay.
So this is what I'm saying is, like, again, they've played other games, close games against good teams, against good competition. This is the other point you're missing. They played against good competition.
Where? They got like two good teams.
You're out of your all right, now we're gonna fight.
So you got the Ravens. You probably put the Chargers up there. Who else?
Okay, let's take a look at the Chiefs' wins this year. Ravens. That's an impressive win. Even though, it took the toe. You need a toe, I can get you a toe. That's a win.
1 touchdown's impressive? I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's because look at what the Ravens are doing. The Ravens are a good team. You're going to tell me the Ravens aren't one of the top teams in the AFC?
You keep saying they're inconsistent.
They are, but they're still one of the. Just because you're inconsistent doesn't mean you're good, not good. Inconsistent doesn't mean bad, Jimbo.
No, but it means average.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Good, bad, good, bad. What's the average out? You average it out.
So then they beat the Bengals. 26-25. Oh, and here's another reason. Why are you picking against the Chiefs when you know the referees are going to help them win anyway? You might as well pick the Chiefs then, right? Going by your logic, if the Chiefs are so in the referee's pocket, then the refs will make them win the game, right?
Just like last night with Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni called a good game. They're making bad decisions. The refs will finally call a fair game.
Oh, so you're okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. So then they played the Falcons. Won 22-17. Falcons, again, good team. Inconsistent, but they played well against the Chiefs.
Average.
Shut the fuck up. No. Then they beat the Chargers. That's a good win.
By a touchdown.
The Saints, it is the Saints. That's what it is. The 49ers, they were in the midst of injuries. I'm not going to give them credit for that one. They beat them 28-18. So that's fine. Raiders, that's another pair. Buccaneers, that's a good win. Buccaneers played really good in that game, and the Buccaneers are a good team.
They had Baker Mayfield. That's it.
Are you fucking disrespecting Cade, Cock, Knott, and Otten? Get the fuck out of here. Don't you disrespect my boy. Don't you disrespect my boy. Don't you do that. Zerthos in the chat, by the way. Hello, Governor. Good to see you in there. And then they beat the Broncos. And we've seen from the Broncos, up and coming, playing better. Bo Nix looking good. So, again, a lot more impressive wins on Kansas City's side, including the fact that they've won all their games, haven't been blown out by anybody. Yeah, absolutely. I think the first time we've gotten angry at each other over the pick.
It's been a minute.
All right, now we got Sunday night's game.
Go ahead.
All right, no, we're done. We're done. The conversation is over.
I had to get my last little dig in there.
Yeah. So now we have Sunday night, which I had mixed up my nights. I thought the Cowboys and Texans was Sunday night. No, that's Monday night, which we're still covering here on Stay Tuned Sports. Quickly, I just wanted Zertos in the chat says, as a Commanders fan, that was just a slap in the face. It's like we reverted back to how we should have been playing. No, here's the thing, and I'll say this before we finish up with our picks here. Commanders are good. You're rebuilding not just a team, you're rebuilding an entire organization from, football Stalin that was Dan Snyder. So it's going to take a little while. You guys are way ahead of fucking schedule. And again, the remaining Commander schedule is not bad.
Yeah.
And you get another shot at the Eagles at the landfill and Landover. So you guys are still okay. Meanwhile, the Eagles still have to play the Ravens and the Steelers, which are two very possible losses on the schedule for the Eagles. Plus, then again, you have the rematch there in Landover. So it is not out of the realm of possibility that Washington finds himself back on top in the NFC East. You got to see how everything goes here. But, I would not be giving up on the Washington football team of Redskin Commanders just yet there, Zerthos. So stay confident.
I do want to just add one thing about the Commanders. Last night's game. They had us beat. And that 2-minute drive at the end of the game, that's what killed
they wasted so much time there. Two things, and I'll say two things, is because not kicking the field goal to go up by one. I know it seems weird, and again, the way the Eagles played, but here's the other thing too, we don't know. Now you don't know what would have happened if they would have kicked that field goal, if you maybe pinned the Eagles deeper on the kickoff, or you don't know how everything shakes out. By not doing that, by turning the ball over on downs, by letting the Eagles just go back down the field and then add on to their lead and make it a 10-point lead instead of it just being or onto their and made a 9-point lead instead of a 2-point lead. That was a big mistake. And I don't know how or who's coaching them on how to do 2-minute drives. Maybe a little bit of a refresher is needed. Just a bit. Let's go over this again during practice this week, guys. All right, how about that? No, and it was a reality check, though. So we'll see that. By the way, thank you so much for watching us here. If you like what you're watching, please hit that like button. Helps us out. If you're watching and not subscribed yet, please smack that subscribe button right on the ass. Make that son bitch jiggle and join us as we are on the road to 300. And again, chat's open. Come in and join us for Sunday night. We have the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. I still want to say San Diego. I'm sorry. Move them back to San Diego, please. We have the Bengals against the Chargers. I like the way the Chargers are playing. I really do. I like the Chargers. I like how they're playing. I like how Harbaugh is reinventing the culture there with the Chargers and making them a tougher team, grittier team, more hard-nosed team, running the ball control, good defense, all that. That being said, they're not going to be able to stop Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is a fucking beast. And granted, I know the Bengals defense has not been great this year. And they have to work that out. But you're going to have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase on the field for the same time again coming up this week. Joe Burrow has been putting up MVP numbers. It's just the fact that the Bengals are 4-6 that's been doing that. But again, the Bengals aren't out. They are still in the wild card hunt, very much so, and especially with Joe Burrow. If they win this game, they're 5-6. They're a game away from 500, and with 12, so 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, with 5 games left, they are very much in the playoff race. They can end up being 11-6 if they play their cards right. So I'm going to go with the Bengals on this one again. I'm not going to bet against Joe Burrow, and I like the Chargers. But again, I think they're still a team that is indeed building, even though they have a 6-3 record. They look very good in the games that they've played. I think the Bengals still pull this one out. Joe Burrow and the Bengals on Sunday night. Jimbo, what you got?
Burrow's gonna have a big game. T. Higgins is gonna be back, but Chargers have a good running game. They're ranked 9th, and if they could control that time of possession, and you keep Joe Burrow off the field, then Joe Burrow can't beat you. I think this is going to be another close game. Possibly, it might be a high-scoring game if depending. But it's Jim Harbaugh. Like, wherever he goes, he wins. I just think they have a slight advantage over the Bengals, and it just seems like the Bengals' season is just full of bad luck, especially like last week. For example, with the missed face mask, missed holding penalty, missed all on one play, and not one single ref saw it. So it's a combination of bad luck and Jim Harbaugh and a good Chargers team.
All right. Well, it'll be fun. It'll be on Sunday night, and of course, we will be watching that along. Well, I'll be watching that right here with you along on Stay Tuned Sports as we do our Sunday night watch-alongs, as we do every single week for every single primetime game in the NFL. Speaking of which, Monday night, oh, God. We've got a Houston Texans team against the Dallas Cowboys. Houston has not been playing well. I've been saying it all year that they are definitely in a sophomore slump, and it has shown they are not good. As, again, Lennon and Ringo down there with Jimbo, not liking that game either. And why would you? I get you. I feel you. They got that dog in them, unlike the Cowboys and the Texans. Again, Texans not playing good football. They do not look particularly well. I think they're going to win the AFC South by default, but again, they feel like a one-and-done wild card team right now if I had to put my money on it. All that being said, holy shit are the Cowboys. The Cowboys might be worse than the Giants, believe it or not. Just because, again, Dak's out. You got they are just an absolute organizational mess, and that's again poor planning I think from Jerry in this year. I don't know what was going on with an all in and then not doing an all in and just kind of half-assing things right at the end and whatever. Again, the contract situation that he had with CD and with Dak, none of it made sense. And now those two have, I think, somewhere like 46% of the total cap for next year. So, lots of stuff going on with the Cowboys. So, really, with this, by default, I'm going to go with the Texans. But this is going to be a fucking rough game to watch, man. And I'm going to suffer with it through you guys. We're going to be here. I'm going to do it. We'll get through it together. Trust me. We'll do it. Through the power of love, we'll get through it. But I got the Texans. Jimbo, I see you got the same thing. Really, is there anything to add to this?
The only thing I want to ask you is what's your over-under for it?
I have my tiebreaker total is 33. I went low.
Oh, okay.
I went real low.
38. At first, I was like, I'll do 42. I'm like, that's still too high.
That's way too high. To me, I was looking at it, I was like, that's way too high for this game.
Yeah, so I got 38.
I'm going to have to be way too high to watch this game.
There you go. But I agree with all the points. Yeah, this Dallas team, I haven't seen this bad of a Dallas team in my lifetime.
I was going to say, this is one of the worst ones that I can remember. Zerthos in the chat, he does agree with us as well. Says Houston has to win nothing is going well for the Cowboys. Nothing on the injury front, nothing on the play calling front. Zimmer on defense not doing great. McCarthy as head coach is being told by Micah Parsons that he ain't do nothing. It's just from top down a disaster. And in Dallas, and again, they're playing at home, so there's a chance that they lose by 20 or more points because they get blown out at AT&T Stadium, which part of me would feel bad for the Cowboy fans, but you know what you did. So you listen. This is your choice. You deal with it. But there you go. There's the picks for Week 11 for your boys Jimbo and King. And again, I hate saying it because Week 11, man, we're getting closer. We're getting closer to the end, and I don't want it. I don't want to be back to the end, Jimbo. I don't want to be back to the end. I want football season to be just starting again. None of this. Although, we'll have the UFL going. Maybe we'll cover a couple of those games, by the way. But speaking of covering other sporting events, tonight, right here, live on Stay Tuned Sports, your boy King, your good friend Jimbo, right over there. We're going to be watching along with the Logan Paul, Mike Tyson fight over on Jake Paul, not Logan. Logan's the wrestler. That's right. I always forget.
There you go.
Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. Listen, if Logan was in there too, maybe he has a shot. I don't know. Again, Mike Tyson's 58, so I don't know how long he's going to last. Or how his conditioning is. Again, he's got the muscles and he's got all that, but he's. This is kind of like this is like a Rocky story here. So we'll see. I have no idea. Yeah. But we will be covering that right here. When does that start?
The main card starts at 8 p.m. But there's only 4 fights, so I'm not sure what they're going to do in between each fight. I don't know if there's.
How many fights are there on the card?
There's only 4. I only saw the fight card only had 4 fights.
Because that's what I mean. Like, I don't want to be on this stream for fucking 5 hours.
So obviously Jake Paul and Tyson's the main event.
They're very upset by that. They do not like Jake Paul.
Yeah, Lennon doesn't want to watch it at all. The co-main event, Serrano's female fighter. She's a former. I don't think she's a champion now, but she's a former champion. That should be a good fight. The other 2 fights underneath that, I don't know who they are. So it might be like a debut type fights for them.
So I'm going to say maybe we do 11. Not 11. Hamster wants us to start at 11. Fuck you, Hamster. Maybe we start at 9.
That's what I'm thinking.
And look at there and then try to play it by ear from there. Because I don't, I'm not sure. Like, I'm not going to. And again, I'm going to have the board up for the main fight.
Yeah.
For Tyson and Paul, but I'm not gonna sit there and keep score for these other fights. I don't know these people, and I don't care. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's not why we're here. We're not here to watch these other people. We're here to just kind of sit here and bullshit. We'll probably talk about 10 million different other things.
Yeah.
On here, Hamster is saying that it does start at 11. He's adamant that the fight's going to start at 11 o'clock, and it might. Considering how they have all the other ones and however much time they take in between it, we know that they fucking take forever. So. That could mean if we're here for 2 hours just trying to find ways to fill and do bullshit. I don't know. I wouldn't want to do unless you're on Canada time. Because Canada for Jimbo is all just one time zone. Doesn't matter. Oh, you're on the Atlantic side of Canada. Doesn't matter. It's still like 11 o'clock. Yeah, it's actually it's Tuesday in Canada. If you didn't know, it's Friday, but it's actually Tuesday when you're up there in Canada. So we'll take a look. We'll take a see. But we are going to be doing that. Again, maybe at 9, maybe at 10. Make sure that you're subscribed so that you get the notification. We'll also be posting it over on all of our social media so you can know when we're going to be going live, and we'll post the time there. So we're gonna do this. But yeah, there we go. Tyson, Paul, we're going to be watching it right here. So make sure you join us. But until then, Jimbo, anything else to say about these picks, about this Week 11 coming up? Any thoughts, ideas, comments, concerns? What do you got?
No, I think I'm pretty good. I'm kind of speechless for once.
It's that kind of in-depth analysis that people come here to Stay Tuned Sports for.
I mean, as I know you said about the football picks, but I just hope that we see Logan. See, you got me doing it now. Seeing Jake Paul's head get spun around like Daffy Duck.
Don't blame me. So you want to see somebody die? You want to see him dead? That's
I did not
a
say
horrible
that.
thing to say.
You said
that's
that.
a terrible.
You said that.
What an awful human being. What an awful human being you are. Well, until tonight for the Tyson Paul fight. My name is King. That over there is your good friend Jimbo, and we will see you then. Thank you for joining us so much, everybody here for the Friday forecast. See you tonight.